begin with the words of the Reverend McHale Collins. Here we are, together, bearers of imagination, creators of new worlds. It is our imagination that lifts us beyond despair, that whispers, "What if?" and dares us to answer. Today, we gather to renew that spark, to embrace the power to dream. May our minds open. May our hearts awaken. And together, may we nurture visions that grow beyond today. Come, let us imagine boldly and worship together. I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in singing Bright Morning Stars. It's a song, this is an Appalachian folk tune. And some of you may be familiar with it. We're actually only going to sing one verse that you've probably heard before, which is the main verse, Bright Morning Stars. And then we're going to sing some other newer verses written by Unitarian Universalist musician Matt Meyer. So let's sing together and make some beautiful music.
Bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising. Day is a-breaking in my soul. Rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber, rise up from morning slumber. Day is a-breaking in my soul. We'll raise a mighty chorus to sing out loud for justice. We'll raise a song in joyfulness. Day is the breaking in my soul. On earth as up in heaven, we'll build the world imagine. Grace in our hearts this fashion. Day is a breaking in my soul. In faith we'll grow together. We'll build this world to better. With love here at the center. Day is a breaking in my soul.
Bright morning stars.
Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking in my soul. Day is a breaking in my soul.
I got it. Thank you.
During this time when our country has initiated a war on another country, we light a candle for peace, for all those experiencing the horrors of war. We recognize that violence serves only to create more violence, war, and generational hatred. Justice is at the core of our faith. Love is at the center of our values. May the light of this candle remind us of our call to bring justice and love to our community and to the world. And now we light our land acknowledgement candle. We light this candle in recognition of the Tamian and Muwekma Ohlone indigenous peoples who were the first humans to inhabit and steward this land thousands of years before settler colonies arise. We honor the resilience of these indigenous peoples in the face of devastating harm, and we financially support the Muwekma Preservation Foundation and the Amamutsan Land Trust. We continue to support the integrity of the entire Uristak tribal cultural landscape alongside the Amamutsan tribal band. And now for our chalice lighting. And after we light this chalice, I invite you who are participating by Zoom to light your chalices or the candle in your heart, and to write into the chat where you are lighting today. Our chalice lighting words this morning are by Irene Glass. We kindle light, and with it possibility, that we are more than the sum of our parts, that the world is more than a problem to solve, that illumination is more than simple flame. We light the chalice and open to possibility.
Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join me as we say our affirmation, the affirmation of this congregation. We say it both in English and in Spanish as a reminder of the many languages spoken within this community and beyond these walls, the many languages of the heart. The words will be up on the screen, hopefully soon. There we go. They're also printed in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls may grow into harmony with the divine. This do we covenant with one another. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. La búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su oración. Habitar juntos en paz, buscar la verdad con libertad y servir a la humanidad juntos, con el fin de que todas las almas pueden crecer en armonía con lo divino. Esto es lo que pactamos unos con otros.
Welcome to worship with the First Unitarian Church of San Jose, where we are seekers. At our best, we know that we don't know it all, not even a little, and so humbly, we seek new awakenings that show us how truly to live out the mission of this congregation, to make love visible in all that we say and do. We do this by honoring the wholeness, the inherent worth and beauty and dignity of everyone, and by recognizing so deeply that we are all connected, that we can't help but work for the actual liberation of all. This is good work, uncomfortable work, sometimes exhausting work, so we remember to play, and it is deeply satisfying work. Holy work. Thank you for being here today. If you are new or visiting, thank you for becoming part of this community, whether it's for this day or alone or for the rest of your life. I am Julia Rodriguez. My pronouns are she, her, and I have been coming to this church for 40 years. It has always been a place that welcomed my questions, encouraged our family, and prodded my conscience. We'll now say hi to our friends joining us online. And we're going to count, wave, everybody, yay. Oh, they're waving to us. I don't know, the script is always backwards. And now we can wave to them.
Camera over there.
There it is. The
back of the
camera's
sanctuary.
straight in front of me, and I keep looking at the screen. Good job on the camera. So if you're new here, please reach out to any of us. So we're still waiting. Thanks. If you're new here, please reach out to any one of us. You're also welcome to visit the welcome table after the service during our social hour in Hattie Porter Hall. We're fortunate to have a crew of coffee hosts. Enjoy a cup of coffee or tea and a treat after the service. Thanks.
This piece has been a long time coming back to this sanctuary. It is on.
There we go.
I first came to this arrangement, first heard it 30 years ago now. And it planted itself very much into my soul and consciousness back then. This arrangement of the very familiar piece, Land of Pure Imagination, or Just Pure Imagination, from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, was written by, music was written by Anthony Dooley, and the Leslie Bercuse, very well-known lyricist, worked with him on this. Our arrangement is by a Bay Area native who left us far too young, and over 10 years ago now, Greg Marai. And when I first heard the piece, I was able to reach out to him and get the scores to it. And we lost him 10 years ago now. So this goes to Greg. And this is for all of you to take a little trip into your own imagination. And just let the music wash over you.
We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. change the world. There's nothing to it.
There is no place I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free. If you truly wish to
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Young or young at heart, to join me down here in the labyrinth for our time for all ages. I love that song. That was a beautiful rendition of it as well. So thank you for sharing that. And it fits perfectly because I want to talk a little bit about wonder and imagination and curiosity. And so sometimes, to kick off this point in our service, we have a wonder box. Exactly. I wonder what's in it. You know the joke. Maybe it's not a joke. So, I wonder what's inside our wonder box today. A box. I wonder what's in it. So, I want to give you this box. And you can shake it, you can do whatever you want. You can't break what's inside it, but I want you to guess what's inside it. Another box. A box inside of something in it. I don't know. Go ahead and... Like I said, you can do whatever you want with it. You can shake it as hard as you want, and it will not break. Huh? I guess you could throw it on the floor. I'm not sure what you'd learn from that. Any guesses? A car. All right. Hope. Interesting. What do you hear inside of it? What do you get ideas of what might be? Some beads? There's something loose in there. Door number 3. That's not allowed. In fact, you can't open the box. Smells like cardboard. Anyone have any other guesses? I mean, you have no clue what's inside it, right? It could be anything. Huh? Magnetic balls? Yeah, what else could it be? Sand, rocks. Could be what? Sure, it could be a rainbow. Who knows what's inside of it, right? atoms and molecules. There's definitely atoms and molecules. It does say water. That's because whatever was in it before had water in it. But I assure you, well, maybe there's a little bit of water. But mostly not, because there's water in a lot of things. All right. Thanks for joining me. What? You want to know what's inside it? You want to know what's inside it? Yes. So one of the things is sometimes what's in our imagination is incredibly powerful and amazing and vibrant. If I don't tell you what's in that box, there can be all sorts of things inside of that box, as much as your imagination can come up with. But if I tell you what's inside the box, it will just be one thing. So as Unitarian Universalists, we have a lot of different beliefs, and most of us don't have a sense of we have big questions about the universe, about, God and whether God or goddess exists or not, or what form that might be, or, what happens after we die. And the reality is, we don't actually know. And so that's part of what this exercise is about, is sometimes you don't know what the answer is. And for me, I actually appreciate that. I appreciate not knowing, about having more questions. One of our Unitarian Universalist hymns has a lyric that even to question truly is an answer. And so I love that ability for us to think about and imagine things and have lots of different possibilities rather than say, well, this is the one way. Because frankly, I think that takes a little bit of the wonder out of life. So, I know what's in the box. So you want to see what's in the box? You really want to see what's in the box? Don't let me say I didn't warn you. Does anyone want? Pull it out. It's a significantly empty whole black peppercorn container. Like I said, sometimes our imagination is more exciting than what is really there. I love that that opportunity to play with possibilities and dream and imagine what things are and how things could be. And so that's what we're exploring today in our service. And I thank you very much for joining me up here, and I apologize for putting you in suspense, but only a little bit, because I love the mystery, to be honest with you. So before our children go out to their religious education classes, we'll sing them out with our blessing song. There's some hand movements which you can join me in doing if you know them. If not, you can even join me in doing them because they're not very hard to pick up. So. May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
push down.
Pull them both out.
No,
Pull them up.
pull them up. There it goes. Thank you. Oh, much better. Today's service title, Imagine If, got me thinking about wishes. I think there's a great deal of overlap between wishing, and imagining if. Imagine if my yard was a delight to the eye. I wish my yard was welcoming and easy to care for. Imagine if the healthcare system was easy to access and affordable. I wish my daughter's healthcare weren't so complicated. Amy Baldwin, many years ago, told a story about wishes. It's funny how the story for all ages is often the one that sticks in the memory. And Amy said that in ancient times, there were places of power where people would make their wishes. Sometimes a sacred tree or a spring. And she said that there are 3 things you must do to make your wish come true. First, you must state your wish. You can write it down, you can say it aloud, or you can keep it in your head. Second, attach your wish to a place of power. You could tie a ribbon to a tree or drop a stone in the well. And thirdly, well, I will tell you the third thing later. For me, Unitarian Universalism's support of same-sex marriage was a powerful act of Imagine If. It felt so brave and bold at the time. So it's 2004, and I'm in Long Beach to attend General Assembly. And for those that don't know, General Assembly is the annual gathering of the American Unitarian Universalist congregations. And as I approach the main hall, I see a giant banner stretched across the front of the convention center on the outside. It declared Unitarian Universal support for gay same-sex marriage for all who passed by that hall. We had made that hall a place of power and attached our wish. I remember thinking, even though it seemed to be an impossible dream, we were taking a brave stance. I thought that, like votes for women, it would take generations for that wish to come true. And I'm so glad I was wrong. So, we're going to do something. I want you guys to imagine if, to make a wish. We have our own place of power here in the center of the sanctuary, that bowl, and it's made sacred by your presence and your intentions. So in your head, go ahead and choose a wish. And in a moment, I want you to take a stone from that white vessel and drop it in our well of water, that bowl. You may keep your wish to yourself, or you may speak it aloud in a word or a short phrase here at the microphone, which we're going to move in a second. And when we're done, I will tell you the third step to making your wish come true. So we're going to line up over here on the left, like we usually do for joys and sorrows, and you can speak your wishes into the microphone, or you can skip the line and drop your stone if you want to keep your wish to yourself. So.
I got it.
Oh, good. Thank you. Over here.
Ooh. Didn't put this back. You can come up this side as well. So you can come up either the right or the left, and if you want, you can just drop a stone in the water, or you can speak some words beforehand if you'd like to share it aloud. Let's bring it down.
Democratic landslide November.
You can play just quietly.
That everyone who is eligible to vote, votes.
I hope that my families of two of my kids who are in motion right now will settle with health and love.
I wish that my daughter and daughter-in-law find work.
I wish that Zoran Mamdani could be the President of the United States.
I wish that in the next 3 to 4 weeks I could handle big moments with calm and grace.
I wish that billionaires would give all their money away.
I wish that my son-in-law gets a job.
I wish for equity for all. I wish for equity for all.
I wish for healing for my friends who need it.
I was just diagnosed with osteoporosis just this past week. My mom had osteoporosis, and I've lost 2 inches in height. And I'm just started on a new medication, injectable. So I'm hoping that my back pain will start to get better as my bone mass improves.
I wish for us to abolish nuclear weapons.
I wish for world peace.
I wish for Ukraine to triumph and keep its independence.
I wish for an immediate cure for cancer.
You go, girl. I wish for the world to heal and for my foster dog to get adopted.
My Italian passport renewal and a long-awaited trip to Europe again.
I wish that countries would stop thinking that war would be the answer to anything.
I wish for the end of all wars.
I wish the horrors that come from global emissions of carbon dioxide finally convince those guys who, fossil fuel interests, to find something else to do.
For those joining on Zoom, I'll go ahead and drop some stones. I hope I'll put it as I wish
I hope I live long.
I wish I lived long enough to see our country and the world turn back to sanity and good health.
I wish for my teenager to find her way. I wish for a well-funded public transit system in the Bay Area.
And for so many other wishes that we have for the world.
Thank you for your wishes. First, you made your wish. Second, you attached it to a place of power. And now, the third step. You must work very hard to make your wish come true. Now, when I first heard the work very hard bit, I chuckled just like you did. All those wishes we thought we would get for free. But the more I think about it, it's the working very hard that makes it yours. In the stories, wishes granted by a genie always have a bad twist. There's no twist to our wishes. We make them our own. And the offering. Which is right here. And now is the time in our service when we invite contributions to help our ministries grow and thrive. You can pay online at sanjoseuu.org. And there you can pay with a credit card or through PayPal. The target for checks and PayPal must be specified, and use the memo line or use the drop down in the online to specify. Please give what you can, and remember, if your presence among us is all you can give today, that is enough. You are enough. Thank you. Perfect. To the work of the church, which is making love visible in all we say and do, we dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. Thank you.
I invite you to join me in a spirit of meditation or prayer. To step into this time, the only time that we have in the present. Maybe that means finding a comfortable position, closing your eyes, or softening your gaze. Tapping into something larger than us. This comes from Rosemary Watola Trammer, and it has a little epigraph first from Barry Lopez. The effort of the imagination is to turn the boundary into a horizon, because there is no endpoint for you. The boundary says here and no further. The horizon says welcome. There are so many boundaries in me, so many limitations, prisons, places where a line has been drawn, perhaps by another, perhaps by me. The lines say stop. The lines say, don't be curious. They say, make yourself small, now smaller. But imagination is the big pink eraser that rubs out the lines, smears and disappears them. Sometimes it's more like a tear, a small rip in the known that bids me look through the lines as if peeking through a curtain. And sometimes the imagination takes a line and bends it, twists it like a clown with a balloon, until what I thought was a boundary becomes a bird, becomes crown, becomes flower. Or it turns the line perpendicular, so that what I thought was a deadline becomes a path. I want to listen for the voices beyond the boundaries. Want to open to what I can't yet see. I want to hear the welcome of the horizon. And like a bell calling me home, let it lead me. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so. I invite you to join me in singing, and you can remain seated for this. Soon the day will arrive It's number 146 in your gray hymnal. And this is a song that comes out of the Jewish tradition, although this is a translation, not a direct translation of the Jewish, very popular song, Bashana, about what a world there could be. Let us sing. Soon the day will arrive when we will be together and no longer will we live in fear, and the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreams, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and the vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed in hope, not in sorrow, and the promise to make the new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Imagination and dreams, wishes are powerful. The power of imagination can help us bring new worlds, ones that have never existed, into being. A while ago, or a few years ago, I should say, I heard a story from the Black feminist scholar and poet, Dr. Alexis Pauline Gumbs, that she was telling about Harriet Tubman. Now, most of us know of Tubman as the woman who helped lead over 70 enslaved Africans, friends, family, and others to freedom on the Underground Railroad and never lost a passenger. Before that, while enslaved, Harriet had suffered a traumatic head injury while defending another enslaved person from an overseer. And that head trauma caused her to have visions and dreams. One night, shortly before the start of the Civil War, Harriet was staying at the house of the Black abolitionist leader, Reverend Henry Highland Garnet. And during the night, she had a vision that all of America's slaves would be liberated soon. The oldest written account of this story is from Sarah H. Bradford's 1886 book, Harriet, the Moses of Her People. She describes the scene. Whether a dream or one of those glimpses into the future which sometimes seem to have been granted to her, no one can say. But the effect on her was very remarkable. She rose, singing, "My people are free! My people are free!" She came down to breakfast singing the words in a sort of ecstasy. Mr. Garnet said to her, "Oh, Harriet, Harriet, Do cease this noise. My grandchildren may see the day of the emancipation of our people, but you and I will never see it. Harriet replied, You'll see it, and you'll see it soon. My people are free. My people are free. Now, Dr. Gumbs points out that Tubman isn't saying, my people will be free. In the midst of slavery, shortly before the start of the Civil War, she is saying, my people are free. Gumbs says she was envisioning the world as she knew it would be. But as Julia said, a dream, a wish alone is not enough. It has to be backed up with action. About a year later, after the Civil War had started, Tubman headed down to South Carolina to spy for the Union Army. For over a year, she gathered information and helped plan to lead the Combahee River Raid on a Confederate stronghold in South Carolina in 1963. At midnight, 3 steamships carrying 300 black soldiers, led by Tubman, headed up the Combahee River, raiding Southern supply houses and burning down plantations. And due to the planning and intelligence gathered by Tubman and her contacts, without losing a single person, they were able to liberate over 750 enslaved Africans who escaped onto the boats. It was one of the largest slave revolts in American history. 150 years later, a group of mostly queer black feminists gathered back at the location of the raid and repeated her vision. My people are free, as a meditation of liberation. And Dr. Gumbs says how powerful it was to think of Tubman, imagining them gathering 150 years later, breathing her words. To think that this vision is what helped sustain her in the struggle. And now these women are working to continue to expand the boundaries of liberation. Dr. Gumbs ended by saying, may we live the lives that our ancestors had to create mythologies and legends to even allow for. That's the power of imagination. It can allow us to see well past our current moment, our current situation, to something better, something that seems almost unbelievable, almost unimaginable. But of course, with that imagination, can be made possible. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world? Well, maybe there's something to it. It does, after all, take hard work and dedication. Sometimes it takes longer than our lifetimes. And so that imagination, that vision gets passed on, ever growing and changing. When Julia and I were talking about her reflection and her talking about marriage equality and the Unitarian and Universalist support for that, helping bring it into being, I couldn't also help but think of, among others, Harvey Milk. In part because this coming Friday is Harvey Milk Day, when we celebrate the life of the first openly gay elected official in America, or rather, elected official to be openly gay when they were elected. I think about what he made possible by his example, of believing that the gay community should have their own representatives, and how he fought for rights for LGBTQ people, even if some of those rights that he was fighting for, or that we are fighting for today, are things that he could never have imagined. His former campaign manager and aide, Ann Cronenberg, said what set Harvey apart was that he was a visionary. He imagined a righteous world inside his head, and then he set about to create it for real, for all of us. But of course, it took a movement that started before him. Milk found inspiration in gay rights activists before him. When he was a younger man, that wasn't something he was particularly interested in. He was just trying to keep his head down and be unbothered. I think about the people who protested after the raid on the Stonewall Inn, and then those who gathered the following year with a protest and a march that would be the genesis of what would become the Pride movement. It was actually in that second anniversary of what would become that Pride march that there's imagery or video footage of Harvey Milk there at the protest with a big smiling face, proud and protesting. And so I think about all that has to go into transformation. Now, although I'm inviting you to imagine how things could be different going into the future, I actually want to focus a little bit more on the past. I think part of the reason is that we have such a hard time imagining the way things could be different in the future. Or rather, we seem to have an easier time imagining how the future could go wrong. Look at all the books and movies and television shows about the end of the world or a dystopian future. As the writer and activist Rebecca Solnit writes, people have always been good at imagining the end of the world, which is much easier to picture than the strange sidelong paths of change in a world without end. That's where that possibility arises from, because we never know exactly how things will unfold, even when things seem difficult or dark. But the other reason I want to focus on the past is that from the vantage point of the present, from our time now, it's actually hard for us to think about, unless we lived through a change, to think about the world as it was, as it used to be. We often tend to take for granted what came beforehand and just assume that this was the way that history was meant to unfold. Yet often, so often, it was individuals or groups with a vision, with dedication, and perhaps a little luck who made it manifest. I'm thinking about, from our own tradition, the many Unitarians and Universalists who were supporters of the abolitionist movement or the women's suffrage movement. Those who answered the call to voting rights in Selma, or the many social reformers who have reshaped the landscape of our country and our world. Last week, I had a tacos and trivia event that I hosted, and one of the rounds was about UU history. So I'm excited to share some of the things that I researched a little bit more for one of those questions. Thinking about these people from our history, like the Universalist Clara Barton, who was a Civil War nurse and who, after the war, founded the American Red Cross. Now, it wasn't an idea that came out of nowhere. There was a Red Cross that existed in Europe that was about addressing the horrors of war, and eventually the Geneva Convention would come out of that. But one of the things that's unique about the American Red Cross was she had an idea that maybe it provides support beyond just situations of war to situations of natural disasters as well. And so the possibility of what could happen expanded. That's an institution that we may take for granted these days. Dorothea Dix, a Unitarian, saw the inhumane way that poor people with mental illness were treated, often locked up in incredibly inhumane conditions, and who pioneered humane treatments and institutions for poor people with mental illnesses. Now, let me tell you, those institutions were not necessarily always great by our standards today, but they were significantly better than what came before. And so there are other people following on her vision who continued to work to make things better. Horace Mann, a Unitarian in Boston, advocated for free, universal, non-sectarian public education. So before I think it was around the 1830s, there was no such thing as public school in the United States. Something that we, I think, take for granted these days. And so Horace Mann had a vision for that, of something that was not connected to the church and was free and open to all. And so was consequently known as the father of public education in America. And there are countless others, so many others, with dreams, large and small. I mean, isn't Silicon Valley itself a testament to people dreaming what could be and working to build it? I mean, the people who are joining us on Zoom here in the sanctuary so that we might worship together from across the Bay Area and beyond. I'm not sure who's online today, but we often have people joining us from out of state and sometimes even from other continents. Who could have imagined that? Yet we can also look at Silicon Valley and see at the way that imagination has been captured, maybe corrupted by capitalism, by the quest for wealth and power. And if you take time to think about it, that imagination can cut the other way. It's not always for the better from my perspective. Right now, there are also other people dreaming of a different world. A world where men and women follow rigid gender roles, where workers have less power or are replaced by artificial intelligence, where white people assert their supremacy, where religious infidels are killed or converted, where education is privatized, where corporations are free to do whatever they want, where queerness is illegal, where women don't have autonomy over their bodies, where we build walls to keep out the other, where voting rights are not guaranteed. And it's scary, because sometimes it feels like those competing visions are winning. I invite you to just take a breath with me. It's a lot to hold. Living in this world that we do, where so much is at risk. Places where we felt the arc of the universe had bent one way, being bent back. But the thing is, I happen to believe in the beauty of our vision. These regressive ideas that want to take us back to something else, they rely on wealth and power to maintain them because they do not have a compelling vision, a beautiful vision that appeals to most people. That control, those ideas are tenuous, always tenuous, because people have a tendency to move towards freedom, towards beautiful visions, an end to war, a world where all have access to health care and housing and dignity, a world where we live in harmony with nature, a world where we care for each other, a world where we have the opportunity to contribute in ways that feel good to ourselves, a world where we have time, leisure time to engage in pursuits that we enjoy, to spend more time with friends and family. These are dreams of possibility, of greater harmony, of more peace, of more freedom, more justice, more beauty. And they are compelling visions. But we need people bringing them forward, advocating for them. So let us give thanks to those who push boundaries, who invite us to dream beyond the gender binary, to engage in alternative economic systems, who invite us, who show us different ways to live in harmony with the environment, who imagine a world where workers reap the profits of their labor, where a social safety net is there to support all people in their time of need. As people of faith, although I know some of us may not necessarily identify as people of faith, I think we have a power in moments like this, even when things are difficult, even when things are hard, to hold out hope. And this comes from an interview I read about with Trevor Noah, the comedian, and Zoran Mamdani, the mayor of New York. And they were talking about faith, both in terms of religion, but also in terms of politics. And Trevor Noah said, one of the things that faith requires of you is the ability to believe that this current state that you are in is not the end. There is a possibility that something can be greater. And even though you cannot see it, you can believe that it can happen. And then Mamdani, who had literally just ran and won a campaign on big progressive promises, on big dreams, confirmed that he had found what Trevor Noah was suggesting. He said, I found over the course of the campaign that as often in houses of worship, where New Yorkers still have that trust, really still have that faith, and it's by and large lost when it comes to politics. And so what he is saying here, and I think it's true, is that we are people who can look at what's going on in the world right now and still hold out hope for something in the future, not necessarily in some afterlife, but here in the world that is yet to come. Dr. King talked about it as building the beloved community, as something that was imminently achievable. Catholic theologian David Tracy says that religious traditions have been teaching people how to look at the world as if it is, as it is, and simultaneously hold in their minds what it could become, not through fantasy or denial, through what he called disciplined attention to what reality itself suggests is possible. And so, friends, during this difficult time when it feels like so much is at stake, when it often feels like the dreams that we had are being pushed back against. Remember that the power of those dreams, that imagination is real, true power, a place to start from and dream big and dream of things that we could not possibly imagine yet, that seem next to impossible, but may not be. And one of the things that I've learned, as helpful as it is to have a dream and a vision, it's more helpful to share that with other people. And so thank you for being part of this community and sharing your hopes and wishes for ourselves, for our lives, and for the world. May we help to make them real. A few announcements. After the service, we have a number of things going on today. We have a welcome lunch for newcomers, if you're new or newish to the church, and that'll be upstairs in our youth room. So it's on the second floor at the top of the stairs or next to the elevator, where you can visit with other newcomers and some leaders to find out about church activities and groups. And like I said, it's a light lunch. All are welcome. That's around 12:30-ish. We have here in the sanctuary, we'll have a budget town hall. We'll have our budget town hall where in 2 weeks the congregation will be voting to approve our budget. And so this is your opportunity to learn more about what's being proposed. If you have any suggestions or ideas for how it might be changed, this is your opportunity to make them. You can ask questions and propose changes. Again, that'll be here in the sanctuary. You can also stay here on Zoom for that. Our homeless concerns group is going to be making sandwiches downstairs in the downstairs kitchen for the unhoused. So you're invited to join for that at 12:45. And then there's a religious education committee meeting today at 1:15 in the fireside room. Lots of different opportunities. And of course, you're welcome to also just join us after service for coffee hour. One other thing that I wanted to bring your attention to, a group of people have been organizing around immigration justice, thinking about visions and dreams of what could be, of universal legal representation for immigrants. And so next Tuesday, not this coming Tuesday, we're having a gathering here in partnership with PACT, people acting in community together with our county supervisors to advocate for that. And so we're, as the host of this event, we're hoping to get a good turnout. And so you can sign up for that at the social justice table, where I think Mary Idso has commitment, who's been working on this, has commitment cards. So we're looking for people to commit to being here in 2 weeks 9 days on the 26th. All right. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, Building a New Way. It is number 1017 in your teal hymnals, but we're only singing one of the verses from the hymnal, and we're singing a new verse that I imagined up this week. And so we'll be singing the Building a New Way, a new verse, and then back to Building a New Way. So just 3 verses. And John will help leading us.
We are building a new way.
to reach out as you feel comfortable and join hands or bump elbows, touch a shoulder, make a connection to someone around you. To those of you joining us on Zoom, I invite you to send some energy out to us and to each other as we send energy back to you. These words from Michael A. Schuler. We have reached the end of this time for the gathering of memory and for letting the imagination play with future possibilities. Shall it be concluded then, or will this adventure, now commenced, continue? Our separate paths converging, meeting, merging in the unending quest for love more perfect. The joyous struggle for meaning more sufficient and life more abundant. Is this ending to be an ending, or merely prelude to new, more glorious beginnings? I pose the question. In your hearts lies the answer. Amen. Blessed be. Go in peace. Go in imagination and dreaming.